In the following video, we will cover the basic process overview of 11-day level design. I'll be using Unreal Development Kit as an example, but this process can be applied to any game engine. The focus of 11-day level design is to create a full playable map from day 1 to day 11 and to release a beta version. Now, if you're familiar with 11-day level design process, in the past we've worked in passes from day 1 to day 11, focusing on geometry, focusing on textures, focusing on modeling, and we did passes throughout the environment. In this new way of working, we work in passes and we combine working in passes with working in sections. So let's begin. Day 1 is focused on pre-production. First, you have to have an idea of what type of environment you want to create. Usually having an idea is the easy part. But if you do get stuck for ideas and you want to look through possible ideas for environments, if you head over to World Level Design, and here on the top red articles you can click on 100 level design ideas and locations, and you can just look through and maybe you'll find some ideas that you want to create as a level. So once you have your idea, the next step is to begin collecting references. References fall under a couple of categories. You have environment and location reference, you have lighting reference, and you have visual style reference. Collecting references will help you get a better and clear understanding of what the environment that you want to create. Once you collected all the references, the next step is to begin sketching. So open up all your references that you have and just begin sketching from them. And then you want to start thinking of possible top-down views. Main idea is to have a top-down view before you move on to day 2. When you are designing your top-down view, you want to focus on flow. You want to think of how the player is going to travel through the environment. When you have your top-down view, the next step is to go through a map creation guideline worksheet. Now, these are the questions to help you focus in on what type of environment you want to create. They go through gameplay, they go through story, they go through visual quality that you want to set. And these questions are designed to really focus in on the environment. After going through these, you will know exactly what you want to create. You'll be able to find map creation guidelines on worldleveldesign.com. And if you go under search and type in map creation guidelines, the very top map creation guidelines, click on that and you'll have all the questions here that you can answer and get a clear understanding of what the environment that you are going to create. Day 2 is about gameplay and flow. Main focus is to block in your environment using the top-down sketch, and the outcome that you want is to playtest your map. During day 2, the main focus is to block in your environment using brushes. No textures, no detail, no models or static meshes, no lights, just simple brushes, simple shapes, and to quickly block in the environment so you can jump in and begin playtesting. Focusing on flow, focusing on layout, and the overall functionality of the map. So the outcome that you want by the end of day 2 is to playtest your map. As you block in and playtest your level, stay very flexible. During these stages, it's very often that you'll change your layout based on the gameplay feedback that you get. It is still very early in the development process that you are able to change the layout to how you like it based on the gameplay feedback that you get. So playtest often and change and iterate often. Then once you're happy with the gameplay flow that you have in your level, it's time to move on to day 3. On day 3 through day 6, we focus on sections, specific sections of the level, and we detail them to a certain visual quality. The first thing is to pick a focal point in your map. Usually it's the dominating piece in the environment or the most memorable. So once you decide what that is, detail it up to 80 and 90%. This sets the visual target that the rest of the environment has to measure up to. So now as you continue on and you detail other sections, you can reference back to the visual, to the focal point, to the visual target, and see how much you need to detail other areas, as well as you can pull textures and static meshes from those areas to detail your other sections. So the focal point sets the visual target for the rest of your environment, and it should be the most dominating or the most memorable piece of environment in your level or space in the environment where the player will be spending a lot of time. Next, on day 4, we move on to other sections. In this particular example, we move on to expand on the exterior. Next, on day 5, we expand even further into the exterior, setting up terrain, as well as detailing the rest of the exterior, adding water, adding rocks. So in your case, on specific days, depending on your environment, you could be detailing work in other sections. And as you work from section to section, you do multiple passes through those sections, detailing up to a certain level of quality that you set, usually the focal point that you worked on day 3. Day 6, in our example, we work on the interior. Here we do multiple passes detailing the interior to a specific visual standard, making sure that the interior measures up to the quality that we want. On day 7, we do an entire environment sweep and we do details. Before, on day 3 to day 6, we worked in sections and we did a detailed pass in each section. On day 7, we do an entire environment sweep and we focus on detailing and bringing all the sections together, seeing that everything flows from one section to another. We focus on both interior and exterior, making sure that the transition between each section is good, as well as all the details that we need for each section are consistent. Day 8, we focus on exterior lighting, setting up our sunlight or our moonlight, and making sure that our natural light is what we need. This also will affect the interior lighting as well, because a lot of times the natural light spills into the interior environments. That is why we work on exterior lighting first, see how it affects our interiors. Day 9, we focus on interior lighting, using what we have with our natural light spilling into the scene. We can now begin doing an entire pass and light our interior. Day 10 is particle effects. We do an entire pass on adding particle effects throughout the environment. We also work on adding sound, both exterior and interior. On day 11, we focus on the visual quality and we bring everything together and finish it up. So on day 11, we work with the visual quality of the level. Here we can change the colors, we can set depth of field, we can modify how our colors looks in the scene. We also create final elements of the map, such as the game type that is going to be set for. We create various configuration and text files and final screenshots that are going to be shown in the menu. So day 11 brings everything together and we work through the post process, setting a visual quality, and we finish up with the release of the beta version. Then as we finish up, we take multiple screenshots of the environment so we can release it and let others download, as well as give us feedback on what we have so far. Next, it's a good idea to walk away and let the feedback come in from the beta version. Here you would just walk away from working on the map, give yourself some rest, and as you come back a couple of days later, you would read all the feedback that you have and then do an entire pass of the environment and change a few things based on the feedback. Here we worked through the environment and we added more foliage and trees to the environment. So before it was kind of bland, very brown, and adding a little bit more green, more life to the environment. So doing an entire pass in the environment and changing a few things to bring up the visual quality of the level that much higher.